My name is Kwabena. Good morning. Today I want to share with you how to become a strong African. How to become a strong African, especially mentally and in terms of your productivity and your actions. There are a lot of Africans who look African, who look strong, but have been Europeanized in their way of life. Okay, because the history as we have it, the colonization lasted for over 300 years, and even that we still under much European spare. And so most Africans, especially if you have gone through the school structure and you have gone through the religious settings, your way of looking at life, the standard that you think there should be, mainly are European. So you will see a lot of Africans who wear suit and tie, when they go to church, when they go to school, or they will dress like Arabs when they are Islamic. So for you to have an African, so you will see that we have English names. We practice their religion. So the average African may not, apart from some bit of culture and traditions. If you're looking for the African who can stand shoulder to shoulder to Europeans and question them and be more productive and be more confident as an African, you have got to have some higher information. So that's why you see an African woman bleach, will change the hair in the name of fashion. Some of them will even change their name. We will change even our set. You go to some African countries, even the men will bleach, and they are always in suit and tie. And anything that represents the European seems to be of higher standard and quality. Sometimes when you watch some of the movies, you see the women, they all fair, bleach, wear long weave on, and even if when they are eating in the movies or when they are anything that they want to represent, they want to say that the standard must be European. How do you become a strong African? I think that it starts with history. If you don't learn the proper history, if all the history you know is just colonization, like the way they put in our books, and anything that was before when the Europeans came, you don't have any idea for the span of the last 500 years or the last 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 years. If you don't have any quality information for that span, you will not be a strong African. If all that you know is the colonization, and even that period for the last 300 years, your sense of history is coming from what the Europeans have told us. And then after that, they continue to tell us religious information. So when I look around, a lot of people, all that they know, the book that they read will be this Bible. That's all. They go to school to study something, and after that, they read morning devotion and the Bible. So you go to major religious countries in Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya. You see the Africans there. You see that they dress suit and tie, and all that they read is what? Is the Bible. Majority of them are religious. Those who are not religious, are not many. And even that, do they have the information that can withstand? Because the average African maybe will see the European as, or they see America, England as developed. Sometimes when I watch some of these videos on YouTube when diasporans come, the more you see them as, they believe the standard is England, the standard is America, you see that they are not that strong, they're weak. And you can see it in their dressing, in their philosophy. You can see it in the complaints. You can see it in the things that attract them. You can always see it. So to produce a strong African, that strong African must be very much established in their African identity and their African worldview. It's very much important. They should be very proud of their achievement, and they should be students of history. If you don't see that, anytime that you argue with them, they will put Africa down. Anytime that you argue with them, you will hear the same stereotype: corruption, leadership. You will hear that all the time, and they will think that there is an opportunity everywhere but Africa. So they will go to America. They think that that is an opportunity. They will go to England. They think that that is an opportunity. They have no higher sense of living beyond themselves, because that is a weak African. So to become a strong African, you must have a strong sense of living, a strong sense of purpose, and you should not separate that from the destiny of Africa and for seeing your people live well. Bringing knowledge and creating opportunities here on the continent and being part of the challenges that we have, and not trying to separate yourself from the challenges to think that, I need my comfort, I need my light, I need nice roads, and it's all for you, and it's always about me, not about us. And if you pick a camera, you are going to the areas that, the people are poor, you just show them and you don't do anything to change it. That is a weak African. The next one is a sense of business and finance. A strong African must have that as well. Economics, you should understand that, how it's played, how it's run around the world. You should understand business, you should understand finance. And you should not be just a person who works for the government and you just take your salary and you take your children to school and that's all. You cannot be a strong African like that. And you should also look at how do we add value to our materials, how do we create opportunities. You should not be the one trying to bring, anytime I see the people who are trying to say let's bring investors, they are always in suit and tie. They are not talking of let's equip our people to go into production, to go into real estate, to go into processing. No. They're always looking for some Chinese investor or some American investor or some white South African investor. When they even talk of an investor, they are not talking of, okay, those from Nigeria or from Kenya or from Namibia, Africans. No, they are all from Jamaica or America, African Americans. No, they're always talking about the Chinese investor. And whenever you're foreign direct, they're always in suit and tie. And because they're weak Africans. They don't promote. The weak African does not promote the African. They promote everybody else, but put a lot of impediments on the way of their own people. And when they have contract, when they have money, they don't invest it in their people. They invest it somewhere because it's a weak African. So if you want to become a strong African, what do? You do opposite what the weak Africans do. You invest in your people, you give them the first priority, and you put their money, and knowledge and time in equipping your people. That's a strong African. And you believe your people have the intelligence to do. I don't believe in Africans trying to beg everybody to come and help them. I don't believe in that. I believe in whatever that you think you have. Do whatever you can with the little that you have, because it always starts a little anyway. It's so-called equip your people. The strong African believes in his people. The strong African invests his money in his people. The strong African shares his knowledge with his people. The strong African is proud of his people. And no matter how many times your people disappoint you, you are not just saying that, you create hope for your people. You create hope for your people. So my name is Kwabena. I'm talking about how do you become a strong African. There are so many Africans who are frustrated and are always complaining because they are weak. The weak is always complaining. They offer no solution. The strong is looking for solution. How do we solve this? Take responsibility. Put the money where. If you have money and you're buying a product, buy it from your people. Equip them. If you have money to invest it in a business, invest it. We are investing in all these shares, and we have a lot of young men and women, multinational companies. We are buying their shares because we just want profit, and yet we have a lot of young men and women trying to establish businesses who need financing, and we don't pay attention to them. We don't pay attention to them. Just a few of them will just go through a lot of frustration. We don't. And even if when they disappoint you, those who will listen to you, can you engage them even if you don't have money? And if you have money, can you support them so that they also believe in themselves and so that they also believe in our continent? This is how strong Africans must behave. There are people who they have high status in society. But when they are strong Africans, when you approach them, no matter how busy they are, they show this, it's always constant. There's always interest to know what you're doing, what they can do to support you. That's an African who is strong. There's always looking to recommend you to somebody. They're always trying to promote you. They're always trying to promote your business, promote what you have. They always open their doors for you. Why? Because they know that among all the tribes in this world, we are the ones who have to, deal with a lot of unnecessary systemic disadvantages. So we promote ourselves. And when you see a strong African, he's always interested in that, promoting his people, helping his people to become the most successful, especially on the continent of Africa. On the continent of Africa, the strong Africans, when you work with the government or you hold a government position, You are looking your policies and all the things that you do, you're promoting your people. You're looking at how can you give this concession to an African? How can you develop a program to help them to run businesses and run them well, creditably? When you don't fight those who are trying to do well, you don't fight them. You don't use the government institutions and the government machinery to fight and to press your own people. You lift them. You build platforms for them. That is a strong African. So my name is Kwabena. I'm talking about how to become a strong African. Study history. Be comfortable with your identity. I can bet you that when you went to school, they didn't teach you anything of this. So you're a big man in a society. You have big portfolio, but you're very ignorant as an African about yourself and about your people. So almost every time the words that come out of your mouth are the negatives. Our people are corrupt, our people cannot be trusted, our people don't know this, our people are this, and the same time he's talking and erasing everybody else. When you go to England, the system is working. When you go to America, everybody. It's not true, because people have also come from there and they are telling us that it's not like that, But the weak African, and a lot of the times I can excuse, because most of them don't read much about the history and about what happened. They don't even have any value for it. They will even tell you it's not important. It happened 100 years ago. They forget that it's still running, and it's been running for the last 600 years. They forget it because they're ignorant of that, and so they don't have the fundamentals thought out rightly. So they're weak. The tree, a strong tree has a deep root. A tall building, strong building has very strong foundation. So your sense of identity, your sense of history, your sense of heritage, they are your root. They are your foundation. If they are strong, you become strong as an African. There is no need trying to teach an African anything if the fundamentals are not set rightly. If the African does not know who he is, there is no need for you to teach them the finance, the innovation, the politics, and all those. They must be very much comfortable with their identity, with their culture, with their history, and they should not feel diminished in the presence of Europeans, particularly, or Chinese. And they should always be comparing themselves and putting themselves down and thinking that everybody else is better except us. When you hear those things, you are looking at the people who don't know themselves, and the people who feel victimized, the people who don't understand how the system is run. And so they are always complaining and talking themselves down. If one African cheats him, it's all of us. But when one Chinese cheat them, they don't say it's all Chinese. They will have ways and means to explain why the Chinese are good people, why the white people are good people, but why the Africans are bad. Because it's a weak African. He's always trying to look for visa to move. He's the one trying to send all his children abroad to go to school, and to try to say that the education we have here is nothing. It's weak. It's weak. So how did you get intelligence to know that this education is weak if you had the same kind of education? And some people believe so much in education and in school. I think that the best school can do for you is to help you to read and write. The rest of the content that you need to build yourself to become successful is your own duty. So for instance, I can read, I can write because I went to school. Now the information that I need to fight in this life, I must go and find them myself. It's not in school. It's not in school. The skills that I need to live my life is not in school. And so the weak African believes in the school, believes in the visa, believes that you have to live outside the continent. So when they get money, they invest it in England, in America, in Dubai, and then they turn around, they come here and they complain, oh, their children don't want to have anything to do with Africa, and they are constantly complaining. Who should do it if we don't? If we don't take the responsibility, and some of them have even given up on us. They say that, are we the ones to develop Africa? I don't think it can ever be done. No, it can be done. Proper understanding is the first step. Proper knowledge is the first step. Before you can, and understanding of ourselves, understanding of what happened, understanding of what we can build from what we have left is so crucial. And not being hopeless and fearful of our future. Always feeling confident and hopeful and positive about what we can do to build our continent. Some people think that, I have to be very positive, I have to be very realistic. Being negative does not mean you are realistic. You're just feeling weakened. And you can't do much in this life if you're that weak You feed on the negatives. You feed on the bad things. Your mind is always on the bad things. You become feeble. Look at your strength and build from there. Strong African. I started to learn the history about 20-something years ago. And it has been. And sometimes I talk to old men who have no clue what these things are about. So you have lived your life for 60, 70 years and you blame Africa because you don't understand. You didn't study it and you didn't even have value for it. The good thing is that there are so many great teachers on YouTube now who are talking about the African and our history and our strength. Listen to them. Don't listen to those who are always talking about the negatives. If you're a young man, you will do yourself big disservice when you're just feeding on the negatives. You feed on, and there is so much information that you can learn. Anytime I'm talking to any African who is strong, I know that their sense of history is right. And they are so much comfortable to work with. And they are so patient. And yet they are intense. Because they have discovered who they are. They know who they are. You know, and it doesn't matter where they live. They could be in America, they could be in Ghana, they could be in Kenya, they could be in Nigeria, they could be anywhere. The moment they know themselves as African, the moment they have discovered this history, the moment they have sense of identity, sense of pride, you can overcome them. Any great African leader who sacrificed so much for the freedom, for the prosperity of Africa, had this sense of identity and had this sense of knowledge. From Malcolm X to Kwame Nkrumah, from Marcus Garvey to Luther King, from Nelson Mandela to Mugabe. All of them, when you mention their name, you see that they were proud Africans and they will never sacrifice that for anything, you know. And they had the common interests of their people, the common interests of their people at heart, you know. So you read and study and you see that you cannot become a great African if you are not great in your history, and if you're not great and obsessed with the prosperity of Africa and the prosperity of our people, you know, and you will do anything to make sure that your country and your people develop. So I want to say thank you very much for watching.